Hello, everybody. My name is John Nelson. I'm Associate Pastor at First Baptist Church in Regina. I'd like to ask you a question. Do you believe in coincidences, fate? I look back on my life and I think of one coincidence that I'm very thankful for after 39 years. A coincidence that I believe was the handiwork of God. When I was teaching at Baptist Leadership Training School as music director and registrar, a young woman came as a student, a mature student, and over the course of the year, coincidences happened. To make a long story short, 5 years after this young woman came to Baptist Leadership Training School, I married Deborah Steves on December 29th, 1981. I want to share with you a story of another coincidence. And maybe we will come to an understanding that coincidences and fate may not be all that they turn out to be. Maybe there's something more powerful at work. I came across a little book. I do not know where I came across it. It's called Wisdom of the Heart by Alan Cohen. And he tells of a true story. It's called Caller ID, and I'd like to share it with you. At 9 p.m. on June the 4th, 2000, Lorenzo was relaxing at his home in Hawaii when the telephone rang. When he answered, a woman's voice on the other end asked, "Who is this?" "This is Lorenzo. How can I help you?" "Well, your phone number is on my caller ID, and I wanted to know why you called me," the woman answered. "Who is this?" "My name is Michelle from Utah." "Well, I didn't call you. I don't know any Michelles in Utah." "Well, you had to have called me because your number and your name are right in front of me. Lorenzo, 808. Well, Lorenzo thought for a moment and said, "I've got it. I must have been calling one of my friends in Utah and accidentally dialed your number." He read her the telephone numbers of his two friends who lived in Utah. Well, they weren't even in the same area code. Lorenzo was stumped. "I just don't have an explanation for this, but I definitely didn't call you," he radiated. Well, as the two kept talking, Lorenzo found that he was attracted to Michelle's voice and spunkiness. She wasn't going to get off the phone until she found out why he called her. After a while, Lorenzo blurted out without thinking, "Well, Michelle, I'll tell you one thing. If we ever get married, this will make a great story." She laughed, and they continued to talk for almost 2 hours. And then they talked every night, with some of the calls lasting 6 hours. Well, a few days after his original call from Michelle, Lorenzo called his friend Steve in Utah, and the mystery was unraveled. You see, Steve had purchased 3 telephones at an electronics store in Salt Lake City and had taken them home to decide which one he liked best. And during that time, Lorenzo had phoned him, and his number had registered on the caller ID. The next morning, Steve returned the phone to the store. Michelle went to the same store later that day to return a defective phone she'd purchased a week earlier. The salesman told her that, they didn't have any other phones like the one she was bringing back, except for one that had just been returned. He asked Michelle if she wanted to wait 2 to 3 weeks for a brand new one to come in, or if she wanted to take the one that had just been handed in. She chose the one that had been returned. When Michelle came home from work the next day, she looked on her caller ID list to see who had called. When she saw the 808 area code and Lorenzo's name, she realized that she didn't know where 808 was. So she decided to call the operator to find out, and somehow when she pressed 0, instead of dialing the operator, the call was put through to, you guessed it, Lorenzo. Well, the short of the long, on September 29th, 2000, Lorenzo and Michelle were married on a beach in Hawaii. And yes, they do have a great story to tell. Well, what do we have to say about coincidence? Al Cohen says this: the universe has amazing ways to bring people together for all the right reasons. While many folks struggle and go to great lengths to find the right partner, the right apartment, job, there's an organization working behind the scenes to create perfect connections for us. It's called the CCCC, or the Cosmic Coincidence Control Center. There are no accidents. Coincidences are just miracles in which God wishes to remain anonymous. Chance plays no part in God's plan. Everything and everyone who shows up in your life comes at the invitation of your thoughts and intentions. You see, Lorenzo's chance, and in some ways inexplicable, meeting with Michelle represents the culmination of a great momentum of experience, desire, and intention on both of their parts. You see, they were ripe, ready, and willing to meet a mate, and the law of attraction assisted them in playing out their wishes. Regard everyone you meet as a purposeful character in the movie you've scripted. And then keep fine-tuning your script so your Hallmark movie becomes only better. After all, Al Cohen says central casting is on your payroll. Why don't we all reflect upon our lives and take a look at those moments that maybe each one of us thought were coincidences, just mere coincidences. Maybe each and every one of us will see the handiwork of God in the midst of our journey of life. Coincidences? No. Miracles of God? Most definitely. I hope that this story has touched your heart, and maybe you will reflect upon your life and realize how much closer God is to you than you realize. Have a great day. Have a great evening. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.